what are some of the things that you're advising people to think about right now that are approaching you and saying, Greg, I really want to buy a house. I see the value, but man, like it is so expensive to own a house right now. What would you do if you were me?
Yeah, first of all, especially as you list all those things out, it is just a crazy time right now. And it's pretty sad how many people are, I say, priced out of the market because of affordability. And it's kind of a term you hear right now, but it's because people just can't afford. And sometimes it's not even the house that they really want. They just can't even afford anything that's within the area that they want to live in. Like they would literally have to go hours away or pick up and move to another state.
Yep.
And it's sad, but it is the reality of it. And so, I mean, number one is, and again, it depends on the age ranges, but I think that as you and I have coached a lot of people who are maybe a little older, people get in their head just around their money. Some people have their head in the sand, think, yeah, it's expensive, but it's okay. I'm just using my credit card and I'll get a raise soon, or it'll be over soon. And they're not taking a proactive approach of, man, I need to get my head wrapped around my own money. Like I literally need to just, like, my advice is to go back a full year. If you want to make it short and easy, go back 3 months, but take your bank statement, credit card statement, grab a highlighter and start going through and seeing how much do I actually spend every month on everything.
Yep.
And the stuff you have to, right? My cell phone bill, my gas, the minimums on my credit card, your food, your groceries, going out to eat, Target, Costco, whatever. But just step on the scale. Like, again, I come from the training background, so I always use the example. I'm like, look, it doesn't matter what you weigh. I just want to know what you weigh. So just step on the scale so I can measure where you're at. And then I say, where do you want to go? Cool. Here's the plan to get there. And so number one is, let's just do the budget so we see where you're at. Okay. Number two would be, then, is there stuff here that we can trim down, taper back? I'm not saying go to ramen. I'm just saying, can you eat out less a week, not 4 times a week, but 2 times, 1 time? Let's just see what this looks like. My wife texted me the other day. She's like, I haven't been to Starbucks in so long. I forget what she said it was. It was like $8 or something. I said, if you did that every day, I did my calculator and I go 8 times 365. I was like, babe, that's $2,500 a year. She's like, how do people do that? I'm like, people do that.
They do.
And some people do even more than that, right? And I'm not saying cut it all out. I'm saying, let's just first understand how much you really are spending.
Right.
And then let's make a decision on where do you want to get to. Because just piecing that together can get you somewhere. Now, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden you can afford the house you really wanted, right?
Totally.
But it's a start. The other thing is that if you can afford something, in my opinion, and not because I'm in mortgages, but because I've made money in real estate, is just get in the game.
Yep.
So if you can't afford and I'm just throwing out numbers because it's area specific, but if you can't afford the $500,000 house and you're like, man, I can only afford $350,000. It's not as big as I want. It's not as big as a yard as I want. It's 15 minutes further than I want to be. But I say, but if you get in the game, you're at least going to gain this appreciation that's happening and going to continue to happen.
Yep.
So that you can then do something later with the equity. Because the alternative is, okay, I'm just going to work on my budget and I'm going to save money, but I can't outsave the inflation.
Right.
So even though you might save some money, in 2 years, you look up and you're like, well, now I can go for that $500,000 house. I'm like, well, yeah, but that house was the $400,000 house. Now it's more expensive.
Yep.
And you just spent a bunch of money renting the whole time. So if you had gone in for that $350,000 house, it would now be whatever number it is, $450,000. You would have put some money into it rather than paying your rent. So you paid down a little bit of principal, you fix it up a little bit with, paint and curb appeal and whatever. You put some sweat equity into the house. Well, now you have an asset that you can, that I can do something with. You and I both know there's options with that. I could rent it out. I could sell it and use that money to buy something else. But I have some options. Whereas the alternative of, I'm just going to keep renting or living with my parents, well, now I don't have as many options when it comes to 2 years from now or 3 years from now.